I keep forgetting that doesn't loop. All right, let's change the title of the stream here. I haven't done something like this in a long time, but it's one of the big reasons why I keep the dashboard open like this. Reacting to Harris Heller's video about Twitch in 2021. So a little backstory to this. We're going to queue up debate mode. We're going to get everything all lined up and stuff. And I think this will give me something to do with the Stuff from Streams playlist over on the YouTube channel as well. But check the chat log as well during the break. And yes, what I said about Twitch is absolutely coming true right now, with it being like, you know, poking something and seeing if it moves when it comes to concurrence versus YouTube. So anyways, let's see here. But that's something I've come to expect anyways. We've technologically dissected Twitch quite a bit over on the YouTube channel, so I'm not surprised that any of this is happening. I'm actually thinking of just doing the smartphone trick to get affiliate out of the way, and then just that way I can get some creative freedom on here again, which will just mean paying a little extra for phone service for the month. I don't use data because I'm pretty good at Wi-Fi and VPNs and stuff, and I don't go very many places. So I don't really need internet all the time everywhere, and I can just voice in to get some data on because of the cheapo phone plan I use because I barely make any calls. That's worth its own YouTube video in and of itself. But let's talk about Harris Heller's video about Twitch in 2021 and queue up debate mode and stuff like that. We'll stop it when it plays ads because I'm going to support Harris even while doing this kind of React stuff. It is completely wrong. Big surprise. Yeah, it's picking up the entirely wrong part of the screen, as last time we were talking Devin Nash, and he's down in the corner of his screen here. So this is one of Harris's videos that consists of stream, basically stuff he was doing in his stream. So there we go. There's the old fella there. Nah, he's younger than me. So let's just stop right here. Let's just do this. Let's stop at the microphone because he has his chat on the screen as well. 2,000 subs. So do the 2.5 rule if you want to see what he's got for, revenue as a creator. So that's the equivalent of, I ran the numbers earlier, and that's the equivalent of making about $30 an hour, which is one of the reasons why people are attracted to streaming in the first place, because the numbers, the critical numbers are such that you don't actually need a very large audience in order to do well compared to millions of views on YouTube, as one person in my YouTube comments rightly pointed out. That is one of the things that Twitch does better, but only until YouTube streaming catches up. I did get a super chat in my last YouTube stream, so I also get more activity on my YouTube streams than I get on Twitch. So anyways, Mr. Heller, this is his stream setup, and it looks pretty good. He's got a pretty decent camera setup and some good gear, but that's not why I watch this guy. I pay attention to what he says because he talks about the multimedia meta like I do. Key difference, he's a Twitch guy. His attitude on YouTube is right in line with a Twitch streamer, despite the fact that he has prior experience on Twitch, or on YouTube. So this guy absolutely is Team Purple. He will differ from my take on things, and that's what makes these kind of reactions interesting. So let's get to work on this, like knock it off with this whole, what are you doing, man? So I also want to make sure chat doesn't bleed over into the debate mode window. He forgot to turn it on, and so he will, he'll fix it at some point, but he does have a pretty awesome setup. By the way, this video is called If Twitch Wants to Survive 2021, They Have to Change These 3 Things. It's gotten up to about 72 grand in views since November 23rd. If you want to see this unedited in its entirety, head on over to the Alpha Gaming channel on YouTube. Now, let's play this.
Twitch. I don't think they're dead, but I do think they're going down a path that does not lead to good places.
Give me the progress bar. Okay.
I'm concerned for Twitch. I don't think they're dead, but I do think they're going down a path that does not lead to good places.
That's one of the few things I'm going to agree with him on, but the big issue is DMCA. That's the showstopper. Recently on YouTube, I did a stream where I talked about how DMCA and only DMCA is Twitch's death angel. Angel of death, Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call it. And what the video that inspired me to say that was this one. We continue.
I want to talk about what Twitch needs in 2021 in order to actually survive, in order to get back on top. Twitch was the leader. Twitch was the only place to stream until 2019.
Well, yes, because that's what it was built as. Twitch is the OG streaming dedicated platform. And it was actually, no, it wasn't even that. Twitch was the spin-off, the gaming spin-off of Justin TV, which was the OG streaming platform. There's other streaming platforms out there as well, like Ustream, and I remember Stickam used to have this as well. But in terms of this is what this platform exists for, and it's the central focus of the platform, Twitch is absolutely, as Ninja put it, Twitch is streaming. The problem is that other platforms like YouTube and Facebook are evolving. They already had something that they were known for, and they're adding streaming into the mix. Twitch is not going in the other direction. And that fundamentally is a major problem, because why be on Twitch if one of these other platforms like YouTube catches up?
Right? Yeah, you could stream on YouTube. I did it a couple times here and there. I even did it a couple times in 2018. But Twitch has been the place to stream. It's not anymore. 2020 has been a bad year for Twitch.
Well, in a comparative sense, 2020 has been a massively good year for streaming and content creation, because all these people that have been stuck home in lockdowns and stuff have gotten into streaming and even making YouTube videos. I confirm with some folks at YouTube that I talk to on Twitter from time to time that, yeah, YouTube video making is in the same boat as streaming. Everybody wants to try it out. Now, what this means is that 2020 is a dog year for any kind of growth. Don't even think you're going to grow in anything, because there's just too many people doing this, not enough people watching. Twitch in particular has the abysmal numbers we've mentioned with the watch hours versus the stream hours. At the very same time, though, if there isn't enough people for there to even be an audience to watch you, you got to wait for what's called the shakeout, which is when people get sick of not growing and just stop, and they go back into the audience. There are some people that aren't going to realize that the only one that ever cancels you is you. Trolls don't cancel you. The only thing that cancels you is you decide, and even a lack of growth won't cancel you. The only thing that cancels you is you. You have to decide to stop. The only alternatives to that are pretty sharp, pretty harsh, like if you got thrown in prison or if you got deplatformed. But other than that, it's all you, baby.
2020 has been a really bad year for Twitch. I think the bad year started in 2019. Like, there started to be some issues. People started to having frustrations with Twitch. But you go on Twitch now after 2020, you can't see a single post from Twitch without a single tweet from Twitch without 90% of the... Oh, I forgot to turn on the chat.
Okay, let's check this before... let's check this here. No graphics. Okay, good, because I totally need to stop freeze framing the guys. It's horrible moments like this.
90% of the responses being angry, right? And that wasn't the case in 2019.
So here's the question I have. Oh, he looks emo now. Yeah, let's leave it there. Here's the question that I have. Are these problems that started, or are these problems that already existed but nobody noticed them? Or there was some reason why they weren't brought into the limelight? The lack of developing a copyright system that functions as a viable alternative to DMCA is one of those problems. Twitch didn't build that up and got caught without one at a time when the RIAA was ramping things up with automated systems to automate the DMCA process. But fortunately, Harris gets into the discussion about DMCA, but not as quickly as I did. One of our key differences among many, many, many other things.
But 2019 is when the bans started happening that didn't seem fair. It's when, remember at TwitchCon last year, like Ammunition tweeted out that picture of all the beers just sitting out in the open for anyone to drug any other partner. 2019 is where the issues started happening and people were getting frustrated.
I'm gonna let the folks that are involved on Twitch for that time speak for that sort of thing, because Twitch was a niche site for me for a very long time. I actually started watching Twitch in fall of 2019 when WoW Classic came out, and I was watching Asmongold and SFan and whatnot because I was interested in Classic, and I actually took a week's vacation around the time WoW Classic came out. And I know I resonate with Classic WoW because I played Vanilla and I played Burning Crusade. So at the very same time, And at the very same time, I was getting into streaming, or streamers, I should say, before I decided to try it myself during the lockdown period. That was when I found out, of course, that there was competitively priced internet with enough upload bandwidth to support something like this.
But 2020 is where things just, they have gone down the drain to the point where I don't know how long Twitch is going to be around. And I think they can turn it around. I want to talk about the 3 different things that I think Twitch needs to do.
Before he gets to that, remember Twitch's position corporately under Amazon. It is not, like I've said on this show numerous times, it is not the same as, skip the lip balm. It is not the same, what's the humidity down to? What it was when I was running the air conditioner. Hi, Winter, welcome back. Anyways, so the position of Twitch under YouTube, or Twitch under Amazon is different than YouTube under Google. YouTube is Google's sole face in this online media world. There used to be a Google video service, but that got shut down. Google tried launching Google Plus, but that didn't work out. That's gone too, except for Google Plus technology being integrated into other stuff that they were doing. Twitch is a subsidiary of Amazon, but Amazon still has competing services. There's a video service with infamously high barriers to entry, so only the most professional of professional creators with teams working under them can host video on Amazon's service. And recently, Amazon launched a service that runs off of mobile gaming, where you record clips on your phone, upload them to the service, and then it's like TikTok with mobile gaming clips, which should annoy the living daylights out of Harris, because that's exactly what he's wanted Twitch to do for years. And I was joking today, and I've added him on a couple of tweets. I was joking today that because I've been watching so many Twitch commentary videos and Twitch highlights on YouTube, as well as some of these Twitch VOD channels that are popping up all over the place because streamers are worried about DMCA, because all of this is going on, my feed on YouTube is filling up with Twitch clips from best of Twitch type aggregator channels, where they're not linked to a specific streamer, but it's somebody who re-uploads very popular Twitch clips so that the algorithms send them around YouTube. So inadvertently, YouTube is doing the very thing that Harris has wanted Twitch to do for years. You know, I heard S-Fan talking about making a clip channel. I'm curious if him and the other streamers could accidentally create what Harris wants on YouTube by making clip channels to export all the top clips and stuff.
The things that Twitch has to do in 2020 if they want to survive. Because right now it feels like Twitch is cashing out in a lot of different ways. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that I think Twitch needs to do in 2021 to not only survive, but succeed. And I think that if they do these things, it will be a massive step forward. I don't think it'll fix the platform, but I do think right now they are on a decline, and I think it will set their course back on an incline. It'll bring back trust in the platform. It'll make the platform fun to be on again. It'll make people move to Twitch. So let's talk about that.
Oh, what do you know? There's somebody, he's going to his intro here. This is 2 minutes in. This is his longest video intro ever. So he likes to do some kind of hook or something. This is a little bit too long for a hook. But somebody said that they like Twitch because of the emotes. Yeah, that's a flimsy cosmetic reason. If you're a creator on Twitch, you definitely should not favor Twitch because of emotes. You should be the kind of person who watches more than anything else, but different discussion. All right.
Before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor.
Then this is the in-video advertising. Now here's the issue. This is the mouse over preview for the video. And yet the majority of his video is this. There we go, getting back to the streaming setup. So YouTube has some things to work on when it comes to these automated mouse over previews, because right now they create problems that are similar to those of misleading metadata, where the mouse over preview, yes, they do destroy the neon thumbnails and their viability, because you just mouse over and see, oh, look, that person's really not in a pink room. It's just someone sitting in front of a camera talking. But at the same time, this whole situation also means that what is in the mouse over preview cannot totally represent or properly represent what's actually in the video, which is something YouTube usually has policies against. different discussion, but I shall keep in touch with that. I did an @Team YouTube earlier today. We'll see if they ever respond.
Change the streaming experience. Watching content on Twitch is
I feel like I missed something.
very first thing
There we
Twitch
go.
needs to do if they want to survive. They need to completely change the streaming experience. Watching content on Twitch is not a good experience. Compared to all the other platforms, Twitch is an
There you go. Follow them on Twitch. Debate mode is helping with promoting these folks when I react to their content, which is cool.
absolute, like, Twitch is a joke. Twitch is a joke when it comes to
Maybe we should just leave it paused here and talk about nothing for a while so it becomes the thumbnail, and we plug them through the thumbnail as well.
the robustness of the platform, not only when we talk about image quality or how long it takes to load a clip. If you guys try to watch a clip, it takes like 5 minutes to load a 30-second clip. There's all that stuff, but we're talking about
When? I've never seen that happen. What I can say, though, is that from a technical perspective, 1080-60 on Twitch uses a bit rate of 6 grand. On YouTube, it's 9 grand. On Mixer, it was 12 grand. So, bit rate wise, Twitch is the low-hanging fruit. But also, I know what he's talking about with the loading thing, mostly from seeing more buffering when watching Twitch streamers than on YouTube. Or watching YouTube streamers, for that matter. Buffering is more of a thing. And I'm not talking lag because their internet cut out. I'm talking me watching from my perspective, watching Twitch at home, more buffering and stuff. And it seems to happen at key moments when the streamer's about to do something.
stuff like Twitch needs to be more discoverable. I've been asking them to do this for almost 2 years now, meeting with developers on Twitch, telling them how to make their platform discoverable. They have, as far as I know, zero plans of doing it. They need
Clips. This is his Clips idea, which Amazon, weirdly enough, is doing outside of Twitch with mobile gaming right now. And YouTube, outside of Twitch, is doing with their algorithms by accident if you watch too many Twitch clips. So, let me just say something here. One of the key differences between myself as a nerd and Harris as a musician, and of course the difference between us in the business side of things, with how we think about business and how companies operate. The technology side, whenever one of these commentators tells you that Twitch needs to be more discoverable, that is a smokescreen that says, I don't know too much about the technology or care to follow it. I'm just telling you what I want the result to be. Technology is why Twitch has no discoverability. Search engine stuff, even things like if you try to binge watch someone's content after the fact, like Twitch clips. There were times when with streamers like Yugi TV, for example, before she blanked her channel because of DMCA, one of the many streamers who's done so, and is now starving Twitch's systems across the board of content to even serve in the first place. But here's the thing. I tried watching a bunch of her most popular clips after discovering her Yugi Crossing shows and whatnot that she was doing during the summer. And Twitch kept showing me literally the same 3 one-minute clips over and over again, instead of showing me stuff that I hadn't seen yet. The playlist feature, called Collections on Twitch, can only be manually sorted. You can't just say, sort descending order by date published or date created. You have to move things around manually. So, you have that. You also have the cutoffs for browsing content that's made to be evergreen, which we illustrated on the YouTube stream earlier in the week. Go check it out, youtube.com/MultimediaJay. Search my channel for Death Angel. I don't think I've mentioned Death Angel in any other title. DMCA and only DMCA is Twitch's Death Angel. The stream that was inspired by this video when I first saw it. So, you have can't browse. Your front page has too many slots filled up with people you've already watched before, instead of trying to introduce you to new creators, or putting them in sections. So, have a section for people you're following, a section for people you've previously shown interest in, like on Netflix. Because you watched this, we want to show you blah, 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 or watch it again on YouTube. You know, that kind of thing. Or have a section, and then have sections that are supposed to introduce you to new people to watch in case you get bored with the 6 or 7 streamers you currently watch all the time. and want to find something else or see who's on the up and up. Twitch has some of that, but they could do a lot better. They have recommended smaller communities if you're willing to scroll long enough to find it. But by and large, the site design has a lot to do with why people go nowhere. Same thing too with the concurrents that I'm watching here. Poking, like I said, poking something with a stick and seeing if it ever moves. There would be a lot more activity on YouTube. Now let's imagine I did what I said I'm going to do and use the smartphone trick to get a third concurrent for Twitch affiliate. I still wouldn't have an audience versus streaming on YouTube, where I can monetize the streams if they're gaming streams, because their paranoid system from that circa demonetization 3 years ago demonetizes all my non-gaming streams. So I just make spin-off videos and call it a day. But my gaming streams are all monetized. I think YouTube is trying to encourage people to stream video games on YouTube. So, nonverbal communication, ladies and gentlemen, actions speak louder than words, or in this case, site design speaks louder than words. Mr. Heller, your idea, please. I've heard it many, many times. But there might be somebody tuning in or watching this after the fact on Twitch or YouTube, probably YouTube, that hasn't heard this idea yet. I think it's a perfectly valid idea, except I think it should be used with a highlight system and not necessarily clips. Harris wants a TikTok competitor. I want a YouTube competitor. But will Twitch make the fundamental changes to how their own platform and website works to make this even feasible? Because right now it's not.
Need to make it more browsable, then to make it fun to sit and sift through content if you don't have someone that you want to stream there. They're not doing any of that. It's super frustrating. Every time they come and they announce something new, it's monetize, right? It's hype train. It's more ads.
Hype train on mobile, mid-roll ads, multiplayer ads. 100% correct. And this is where I think he gets the idea that they're cashing out. I never thought of it that way, and I don't really think of things in terms of people who are running a platform that has a following just walking away from it like that and taking the money. But it could be something worth thinking about there.
Right? It's gifted subs.
Gifted subs actually is probably something YouTube has. Well, probably one of the many features they'll announce, but will they ever release it? But gifted subs is actually something that people are saying in the Creator Insider videos, they're just not calling it that folks want YouTube to do with channel memberships. Latest from YouTube is that they're test marketing a YouTube answer to Twitch Prime that is tied to YouTube Premium in select markets. But the problem I have, and I got to start documenting this, is that YouTube has this problem of making announcements and then never releasing the features. So they can't just have all work in progress. They have to get this stuff rolled out.
Which these things aren't inherently bad, but they keep adding more ways to like make a couple more bucks instead of making a way to make their platform more fun to be on.
That is absolutely correct. So everything that Twitch offers in almost all cases represents some kind of money split, or their ability to make money. Indigestion. Their ability to make more money off of what's already happening on their platform. So, for example, the subscriptions, bits. Bits have a revenue split with Twitch. They are more secure because your real name won't show up, unlike some of the dono services out there. But previously, there were donos where you got everything, whereas Twitch takes a cut for bits when people cheer with bits. Same thing with subs. Twitch infamously has the worst setup 50-50 in the industry when it comes to monthly support versus something like Patreon or a YouTube membership or something.
It needs to be the first thing they do. They need to make platform. They need to make content that is fun to watch. I did a whole video on what this is, by the way. They need to make clips more browsable. And the problem is everybody's been turning off clips lately. Right now, like you look at the difference between the Twitch experience and the YouTube experience. YouTube has live content. They have a good live experience.
Yes, there are TV channels that are streaming on YouTube. So Live Control Room was a major, major upgrade for the YouTube streaming experience versus having to click go live twice because the system couldn't accept communication from your editing software.
Everybody has monetization. I shouldn't say monetization. Everybody has transcoding.
That's a huge one. And it will become a huge... I mean, Devin Nash recently poo-pooed transcoding because, well, yeah, we're past the point where it's a thing. If it's 1080p. When people start wanting to stream in 4K, we'll be back to square one. And it's going to matter if you have wonderful equipment and you're streaming a video game in 4K 60 at whatever bit rate that's going to require. If Twitch doesn't have the ability to watch that on slower for older internet connections or people that can only watch 1080p because of bandwidth, we'll be back to square one on that. So yes, transcoding, still an advantage.
The sub split for everybody is 70-30, and they have VOD content. And
hi, Twitch. Hi, Team Purple. YouTube has been around for over 15 years now, buddy. And those things you're talking about are called videos. And they've been called videos for 15 years. Please take your Twitch lingo and leave it on Twitch. Thank you very much. For those of you that don't get the inside reference, I despise the term VOD when used to refer to a video, because Twitch is a platform that focuses highly on live content, and after the fact stuff is kind of a distant second place. The idea of calling videos VODs after 15 years of calling them videos on YouTube, just because Twitch got popular primarily because of YouTube's mistakes during the adpocalypse. Read the origin stories of some of these big streamers to learn about that stuff. The idea of suddenly changing the terminology when YouTube is well established and has been the premier video platform in the world for over 15 years now is utterly preposterous, but it is exactly the sort of thing that I expect someone wrapped up in Twitch culture to do. So, VODs, VODs, VODs. VOD stands for video on demand. It does not have to be a lingo type thing. It can refer to something like watching pay-per-view on your cable box. YouTube built itself off of videos. Those are called videos. They've been called videos for over 15 years. Take this Johnny-come-lately crap that popped up on Twitch more recently and leave it there. We continue.
they even have some short form content. You can either post short videos or you can post YouTube stories.
Yes, a counterbalance to YouTube heading towards streaming, which will put more of an emphasis on longer stuff, like stream replays. A perfectly valid way to not say VODs.
If you're into that, there is the whole spectrum of content: live content, long form content, and short form content on YouTube.
Oh, okay. You could identify it based on the length of it there. Why did you have to drag out the VOD word earlier? Stay consistent.
On Twitch, there was live content, and then there were clips and VODs if you felt like scrolling through them, but there was no good way to watch them.
There's another word you can use for VODs as well: footage. That's really it. For those of you that are fishbowled by Twitch, let me explain to you another reason why VOD is such a terrible word to bring with you to YouTube. Unlike the highlight editor, which lets you cut out segments of your stream in chunks one at a time, YouTube has a cloud editor that lets you trim and split and even insert audio from the YouTube audio library. Way more developed, way more advanced, way more mature than the highlight editor. You can theoretically not even need the VODs. You can theoretically not even need to use that word anymore because your VODs won't be VODs anymore. Because what you can do on YouTube, you stream on YouTube, and then afterwards you go into the video editor, cut out all the boring stuff, and make a spin-off video to archive the stream instead of the VOD, which still has footage of your empty chair from when you had to use the bathroom or whatever, and like many Twitch streamers, you didn't run ads, contributing to some of Twitch's monetization problems. So, my pizza's here, I'll be right back. 10 minutes of nothing. You can cut that out on YouTube after the fact, make a spin-off video, or edit the original video. So yeah, some of this lingo is specific to Twitch, and it's specific to the technology state of Twitch, which is not as good as it could be.
And now you don't even have that, because a ton of people A ton of people are turning off VODs and clips. There's nothing but live content on Twitch, and that content is getting destroyed because of the ad experience.
The ad experience? It's called DMCA. There is no alternative to strikes, and the strikes don't expire. Twitch could make an administrative decision to finally have some kind of work-off period for strikes. And then they could work on something like Content ID for rights holders to not even need strikes in the first place. We're only in this position because of what Twitch didn't do. But at least it got me to appreciate YouTube's efforts a lot more, because I was fishbowled by too much YouTube.
So, Twitch. First thing Twitch needs to do is completely change the experience of consuming content on Twitch.
Well, actually, Twitch does a pretty good job at that with some of the other stuff, like the social interactions, things like BTTV and Frankerface. I mean, you have more than just regular emojis. Some people like that stuff. And some of them have turned into memes and generic responses where once you're around the ecosystem long enough, you know what that means. So if you have someone doing Pepe Laugh tea time, you pretty much know what that means after the umpteenth time of watching some big streamer screw something up. And Pepe Laugh tea time. So, there are some things that Twitch does better than YouTube. It's the showstoppers like DMCA that are really the biggest issue here. And long term, it's going to affect how interesting the content is and what kind of talent sticks around. What happens when some of these exclusivity contracts reach the end of their terms and it's renegotiation time? Tick tock, and I don't mean the platform.
Make a browsable experience. They also need to completely change their site layout. It drives me nuts. They did like a whole site layout update like a year ago and made it less fun to be on, more confusing.
Well, they do have some good things in there. There are some interesting things, like, for example, they took a page from Mixer. Depending on the browser you use, if you go to my Twitch page when I'm not streaming, the most recent stream VOD will start playing. So it's kind of a page from Mixer that would replay your last stream until the next time you stream for people to tune into, except it'll actually start when people go to the page. So check out this Just Chatting stream from 3 days ago and something starts playing. So that's cool and all. The real thing that Twitch needs to look at with the site design, though, is the front page. It pales in comparison to the YouTube front page. Even though it's more organized. There are more categories on the Twitch front page than on YouTube's front page. It's just that the way the categories use the video slots for all of the streams and other stuff, it doesn't work as well, and it's not as discoverable because you're not seeing and not being recommended new people anywhere near as much as you could be. Let me actually check it right now. Twitch front page. Let me go to my Avast Secure here. Get off of Twitter. Let's go into Microsoft Edge. We have that open from the Ginny thing, right? No, we don't. Let's reopen it. Let me just go to twitch.tv and then see if we... Actually, let's mute Microsoft Edge in Ear Trumpet so we don't hear it. Is it already muted? Well, it'll probably show up when it starts playing audio. Twitch.tv. There's probably some like music or whatever that's going to autoplay. So I'm on the Twitch front page in light mode. Stop. I don't want to see PUBG Mobile Esports. So let me go to the Twitch front page here and let me see. Live channels, we think... Well, this isn't going to show me anything. But XQC, Tfue, Shroud, never mind. I have to go in when I'm logged in. Which I do have, but, I don't feel like doing right now. Okay, that's a bizarre thing to pause him on. Oh, I owe this man an apology. We continue.
Like, why are you spending all that time doing that?
We'll do that on the YouTube stream. Yeah, if you go to your Twitch stream and whatnot, it goofs with your concurrence, so...
And not fixing their browsing issues. It's just weird to me. But the last thing about the Twitch experience, this still in the first section of the Twitch experience here.
If you're wondering why he's cutting off, it's because he cuts himself off in his own stream footage. I'm not trying to cut him off by truncating this. There's a white line right above that cuts into the top of his hair. So, actually, wait. Click, and... See? Debate mode, baby. My favorite way to react to stuff.
The last thing they need to change is they need to change the ad experience.
And this is me supporting him with his Loom Cube thing right here. Let's go back to here. Oh, wait, he just did that. This is what people were making fun of him in the comments for earlier. They need to change the ad experience. Then YouTube goes to a mid-roll. YouTube algorithms. Let's back it up a bit. No, I don't want to go full screen. Come on, Firefox. Back it up a notch. Did I accidentally bump it forward? Hold on a second. Unmute him.
And not fixing their browsing issues. It's just weird to me. But the last thing about the Twitch experience, this still in the first section of the Twitch.
Back it up.
Everybody has transcoding.
Okay, here we go.
The sub split for everybody is 70-30. And they have VOD content. And they even have some short form content.
You went back too
post
far.
Short videos, or you can post long form content and short form content on YouTube. On Twitch, there was live content, and then there were clips and VODs if you felt like scrolling through them, but there was no good.
Were those even called VODs? Or is this something that people actually thought up? Because nothing is called VODs on Twitch. Nothing is called VODs on Twitch like that. Let me just see something here. Yeah, nothing is called VODs on Twitch like that. It's a video section, just like it is on YouTube. It just doesn't function the same. I wonder. We shall see. Let's see here. Continue.
Way to watch them, and now you don't even have that because a ton of people are turning off VODs and
all right, there's where we're going here.
Nothing but live content on Twitch, and
that's DMCA.
And that content is getting destroyed because of the ad experience.
Not the ad experience, DMCA. You could say, unless he meant that the live stuff's getting destroyed by the ad experience, which, has he compared the ad experience on YouTube and Twitch? I don't think so, based on what he says, but let's not spoil anything.
So, Twitch. First thing Twitch needs to do is completely change the experience of consuming content on Twitch. Make a browsable experience. They also need to completely change their site layout. It drives me nuts. They did like a whole site layout update like a year ago. Time doing that, and not fixing their browsing issues. It's just weird to me. But the last thing about the Twitch experience, this still in the first section of the Twitch experience here, the last thing they need to change is they need to change the ad experience.
We shall see, but let's continue.
Ad experience is a nightmare on Twitch. And they're doing it because they feel like they have to. They're doing it because they're not fixing the other thing, right? The reason the ad experience on YouTube is a lot better is because it can be better. Twitch content is topicable. So
he meant YouTube content there.
Can put targeted ads. How much money do you think ads make on VODs? Twitch doesn't.
It depends on whether people watch them. So we're back to the chicken egg thing yet again, Mr. Heller. So the chicken egg thing, that assumes people want to watch stuff after the fact. Do they? No. Live stuff, by and large, blows away all the after-the-fact stuff on Twitch by leaps and bounds. So how can you monetize stuff that your site, by design, isn't actually getting people wanting to watch? Because your site, by design, moves people towards whoever's live. So this is where we get into the chicken and egg thing, and the difference between what's going on with Harris here is that it's a chicken egg thing. He's blaming stuff on the ad experience that has more to do with the faulty fundamental design of the platform. So more ads is not going to fix this. A site redesign and a platform redesign would fix this. And if this doesn't happen, if Twitch doesn't get this right, YouTube will get this right and teach them this lesson the hard way.
Twitch doesn't make any money on VOD ads. Twitch hardly makes any money on live ads. That's why they have to do 30-second non-skippable ads. That's why they have to do forced ads.
No, that's a form of differentiating yourself from your competitors. YouTube currently has a problem where there isn't enough control over the length of the ads. So people get annoyed by YouTube ads when, for example, they want to watch a video, they kick back, they relax, and then suddenly there's an ad that is way too long, or the business doing the ad has no show flow whatsoever. So it's like they're just wasting time to fill up a 5-minute ad slot. And if you have a good YouTuber that you're watching who knows what they're doing, stays on point, really keeps the show flowing along, and you go to an ad break and it's this bozo small business selling a product somewhere that can't do show flow for crap, of course you're going to notice the big drop off in the quality of what you're watching and not like the ad, and by extension, ads on YouTube as a whole. So another major thing too is and this is something I've already banned one business, PragerU, from advertising on my channel, which hurts my revenue, by the way, is that there are companies out there that are using the YouTube ad system to send their YouTube videos as ads. When you get a 45-minute ad that's actually someone else's podcast, that's not fun. And so I tried on my own channel shutting off skippable ads. The ad revenue tanked. The reason being is because, and it's probably down for the month because of this. The reason being is if you look at the revenue split between what YouTube is able to sell, the skippable ads represent 60% of what YouTube is able to sell for advertising or auction, as it were, on my channel. So it would be better if YouTube sold more unskippables, because then you could know that when it goes to an ad break, you have 2 ads, it's going to be 30 seconds and not you having to click skip because some bozo that doesn't know how to make videos made some 5-minute ad that has the show flow of complete dog crap. Or you have an organization misusing the ad system to send a half-hour YouTube video as a so-called ad, and they pay the money to get their content in front of people's faces. But if you watch a video about someone's cat doing a backflip and it's got a mid-roll that's a half-hour long of someone else's podcast, you're not going to like that. So I actually think Twitch does a better job by saying in the advertising deck, which is publicly available, Harris, you could look at this yourself. The advertising slide deck that Twitch sells their ad services with brags about the ads being non-skippable. And they sell them in, like, what, 30 seconds or 15 seconds? You pay premiums to get larger time slots besides the standard 15 or 30-second ad. Or is it 15 to 30 or 30 to 60? I know it's very, very, very structured versus what YouTube does. Might be a reason for less ad revenue. Because if YouTube's the guinea pig and they can't get past 40% of their ad revenue being everything other than skippables, then this says something about the market for ads in the first place. So no, the ability to target ads is a non sequitur. YouTube's not any better. Well, they do have the algorithms, so they probably are better at that, but that's not the reason why Twitch has the ad problems that it has. Twitch has the ad problems that it has because literally, from a user experience perspective, everybody else has a skip button and Twitch doesn't. There are even ads on Twitter that have skip buttons. Twitter! But not on Twitch. It's the sort of thing where if you learn about certain things, even municipal, like push the button to make the cross the street light turn, the illusion of control is something that sometimes people and organizations play to their advantage. For example, at crosswalks and stuff, you might be pushing a dummy button that doesn't do anything. You might be pushing a dummy button that won't actually change the light. But what you are pushing, but there's a sensor somewhere that detects when someone's standing on the concrete too long, and that's when the thing flips over for pedestrians. But just to give you the illusion of control, you push a button so you feel like you know what to do while you're waiting for the light to change.
Because it's the only way they make money. Whereas on YouTube, a video is 10 minutes long, it's on a topic. So if I'm watching a video on an unboxing of a new GPU, I can get an ad from NVIDIA and it's relevant, and that ad is worth 10 times more than a by the way, if you don't know this, this is called a targeted ad. If you know the demographic, if you know what they're watching, you know what they're interested in, you feed them something, that is worth 10 times more than a non-targeted ad.
Twitch can target their ads based on their demographics. And what are they? Younger people, 18 to 34, gamers. Which is why you'll see ads all over the place for pizza delivery services, gaming mice, and, LED lights and stuff like that. If I ever see an ad for, like, a prescription medication for arthritis or something on Twitch, I may have to scratch my head on that.
It is very difficult to target ads on Twitch because it's sometimes up to 8 hours of content.
Oh, you can target ads on Twitch. Just develop technology to snoop the content real time like what YouTube does. Look, if the length of something means the ads can't be targeted, how do you explain YouTube streaming? Streams can be monetized on YouTube. There can be mid-rolls on YouTube. If this is going to be such a huge problem because something's 8 hours long, YouTube should be having lots of problems with that right now. I don't think they are. I think it's just a matter of developing the right technology to deep scan the content live and offer ads that are similar to it.
How do you topic that, right?
I'm sure YouTube will have an answer long before Twitch does.
How do you target that? You can't. You can
Oh, really? Watch YouTube, Mr. Twitch.
kind of target your demographic a little bit. What age group typically watches my stream? What gender maybe watches my stream?
50% of Twitch's audience is 18 to 34. Roughly 20% are teenagers. Twitch skews younger than YouTube, which is why there are popular commentators on YouTube doing the same things as popular commentators on Twitch that are older and have gray hair. Anyways.
That's as far as you can get. So ads on Twitch are worth a fraction of what they're worth on YouTube.
That's not how CPMs work. I'm sure Devin Nash could rip this one to shreds. Has he done it on his stream yet?
Which is why they have to be 30 seconds long. And
No, it's a business decision to sell stuff as 30-second unskippable. Just like on television, just like on the radio. Fixed length ads, because that's why they're called ad slots. And on television, it helps with programming as well. The one problem with ads with the pre-rolls on Twitch is the inability to channel flip like it's TV.
why they have to be ingested into the middle of the stream. It's bad. It's very bad. And they try to fix it by putting in more ads.
Well, so does YouTube. YouTube started out with something braggable that, unlike watching TV with commercial breaks, you get like 1 30-second ad and you could watch the video. That's no longer the case. There are multiple ad formats playing. You get an unskippable, then a skippable. You get a bumper, then an unskippable, then a skippable. YouTube has been trying to ramp up the monetization. So it would be nice if you could know that an ad break would only be a minute long because it had 2 30-second mid-rolls in it. I don't think YouTube can deliver that. So no, Twitch, in some ways, Twitch is being smarter about the ads than YouTube is. They just don't have a skip button, and they undercut the ability to channel flip on a platform that has such a massive emphasis on live content, like television.
And then getting people to leave the site. 70% of people leave the site because of ads.
That reflects on the people, not necessarily the platform. If you're annoyed by a platform needing to pay its bills and trying to do so, that's a you problem, not a Twitch problem. And quite frankly, Amazon is known for being a very aggressive company with this sort of thing.
Whereas if they were able to make short form content, searchable clips, browsable content.
This is apples and oranges. The ad experience on Twitch is completely different than how things are with content and whether or not Twitch is browsable. You can have a good ad experience on a platform as broken as Twitch. You can have a bad experience on a platform that has its stuff together like the Twitch people wish existed, where things are more discoverable and whatnot. Where Twitch had better technology. These things need to be kept separate from each other, because if you blend the two together, Twitch can make progress and you're not going to give them credit for anything.
They could then put ads in the middle. If you were to have on Twitch, well, like I talked about in a previous video, if you were able to have a clips browsing page, or you could browse and upvote and comment on clips and find most popular clips, you could do what Twitter does.
I wonder if one of the reasons why Twitch doesn't do this is because of the problem of malicious clipping. So the most popular clip will be something that the streamer doesn't like. Theoretically, the streamer can use their clip interface to ban someone for that or issue a 24-hour timeout. But there's got to be a reason why Twitch hasn't done this clips thing. That might be one of the reasons. So we need to quit assuming that Twitch is lazy here. There could be other reasons that we're just not thinking of. Like maybe the most popular clips are clips that paint streamers in a bad light. And so when you have a streamer's worst moments being billboarded on the front page, and that's how people are being introduced to a streamer, I don't think streamers are going to like that. So this could be the sort of thing that, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Harris may think it's a good idea, and it may actually be a good idea, but the people that misuse it will turn it into something bad.
And you could have ads in the middle of the timeline there. It's not a problem. Nobody hates that. Everybody's fine with that. We've all gotten used to that. You could even have a 5-second ad at the end of a clip that is relatable to the clip so it can be targeted and can be worth more.
How would that work? That would basically be a billboard, like McDonald's Golden Arches showing up. Come down to McDonald's for the dollar menu. Boom. One screen. How would that even work?
And it doesn't replace the live content. There are so many ways to improve the experience on Twitch, and they're doing none of it.
Bumper ads. That's what they're called on YouTube. What's the length on those? So non-skippables on YouTube have a length limit of 15 seconds. YouTube bumper ads. These are the really short ones you see. So some people are actually doing this kind of stuff. So YouTube's actually doing this kind of stuff. Let me just check it real here. Check it here. 6 seconds. That's it. So yeah, what Harris is talking about here is a Twitch version of YouTube bumper ads. So yeah, it's something that YouTube's already doing. Hey, how come you're such a YouTube fanboy? Well, they've done some things right over the years, but they're a role model for other platforms that want to develop and grow, quite frankly. Long as the growing and developing platforms don't repeat YouTube's mistakes in the process.
It drives me insane. Twitch TikTok with clips, that's exactly what it needs to be like. It needs to be like TikTok, but with clips.
It's doable, but at the same time, you could do the same idea with highlights and turn it into purple YouTube. What I find interesting, though, is that Twitch does do this when they want to make a publicity video. So they can do this. They just don't make it something that happens all the time. And YouTube, by the way, with YouTube Shorts, is going in exactly this direction. It's just not with clips from streams. It's with really short videos. Someone in the chat, in his chat, is saying, "You mean become a YouTube clone?" Well, yeah. YouTube's done some things right. And as we know from Blizzard versus other MMOs, you don't ignore good ideas just because someone beat you to the punch on them. Because if you do, it makes you look insular and narcissistic, and you end up with situations where in the case of WoW, subs have been dropping for years. It's not as popular as it used to be. Some people even call it an old people game nowadays. And what a lot of this has to do with is bad decisions and ignoring good decisions that other games made that have gotten World of Warcraft to where this is.
To be able to upvote, downvote, comment, engage with them so Twitch knows which ones are popular and they can feed them to you. It's exactly what it needs to be. I literally sat down with Twitch at PAX about this a year and a half ago. PAX West in Seattle, I think, from like March of 2019.
We're talking half the video here dedicated to this user experience thing, not counting the advertising, I don't think.
Won't do it. And we'll get to why they won't do it. That's the last one. The second thing Twitch needs to fix, they need to, and I mean like seriously fix. I don't mean like put a Band-Aid over it, find a short-term solution. Twitch needs to fix the DMCA problem.
It's right there, though. They have a role model, YouTube. So once again, they'd have to cave and admit that YouTube did something right. The question is, will they? I'm not going to go too much into what I said on my YouTube stream about all of this. DMCA, and only DMCA, is Twitch's death angel if they don't fix this. Strikes only, bad thing. Rights holders need to have more options that don't involve going nuclear and running for the hammer. And as we've seen from the behavior of companies that have access to Content ID, people will do that if you give them an alternative. The question is, will Twitch put in the work? If they don't, I think they do eventually lose. And I think this, and only this, is the one thing that's going to make Twitch lose. So Harris is worried about Twitch not surviving. This is the reason why he should be worried. He just comes up with other reasons because we don't think the same.
Twitch can't do what YouTube did. Twitch.
Oh, really?
Can't do a Content ID system. And there's a reason they can't do Content ID, and this is why they're struggling.
Oh, really?
The reason Content ID works is because it makes the record labels happy.
False. The reason why it works is because it gives the record labels an alternative to strikes, and an alternative that doesn't start a legal process because it's being handled through the platform, and a process that can be automated, and a process that can redirect revenue. But most importantly, it can be automated. Spending the money to have your talent issuing DMCA all the time is a business expense. If the system does it for you and you only deal with exceptions, that has value in a business environment. So long as an alternative to strikes only doesn't exist, Twitch has no chance. YouTube has Content ID. Facebook has an actual license for certain types of music. Like a radio station. They bought the license to be able to broadcast stuff like that. And people get a warning if they're using music that's not covered under it. DMCA and only DMCA is the showstopper here. Yes, an alternative system can work on Twitch. The reason it might not work right now is because of other issues that Twitch already needs to fix. Not because of a lack of revenue or something.
That was the only reason Content ID works, because copyright claiming videos, leaving them up, not putting a strike on the channel, but saying, hey, that's our music, so we're going to take the monetization for it.
That is but one option. The options are mute, block, monetize, and track. If you, for example, are running, if you have a TV show and someone uses your stuff, you can block the video. So you can automatically get videos blocked if they use your content if you're under Content ID. If you have Content ID, you can automatically get videos blocked. You don't have to go to any trouble whatsoever. You don't have to spend any salary dollars or labor dollars on somebody issuing the strike and making sure they can issue the strike. The platform will take care of, will do the work for you. So it's not just about money, not just about monetization. Rights holders have more options than monetize when it comes to Content ID.
That makes the record labels happy enough that they feel like they don't need to take down the video.
Lunatic ravings of a madman, as Devin Nash would put it. Again, mute, block, monetize, track. You can block videos that have visual content that matches yours. That's another reason to use Content ID. Automated system, the platform is responsible. And some rights holders have turned around and said, when people complained about false flagging, as it were, well, it's up to YouTube to get their system working correctly. So, the strike would come from you, the organization. You are the one that made it happen. You're the one that copy striked someone, as some people put it. With Content ID and content getting blocked, that's the platform. So you can finger point the platform and say, take it up with them. If their system doesn't work very well, oh well. Shouldn't be hard to figure this out.
Right? There are videos that get like a single video on YouTube because the ads are targeted, because you can put, 4 ads in a 15-minute YouTube video, and
you're not depending on the YouTuber to push a run ads button.
People don't really have that much of a problem with it because the video pauses. It doesn't replace the video. It's just a little, oftentimes 10-second pause in the middle of the video. Not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not covering up like it would with a stream, but platforms like Twitch have technology that could use to get around that. Injected ads that become part of the video stream, so you will not miss anything. It's just that there'll be an ad injected into the video going out to your computer, so chat will eventually get out of sync, which is just refresh when that happens. But you don't miss anything if there's an injected ad like that. My idea for this on the stream I did on YouTube recently is for Twitch to have injected ads when they detect someone's running an ad blocker. So the ads will run, it will cause problems for the people that were blocking the ads. See if they ever do it, but it's one way to kind of stick it to the people running ad blockers.
Target those ads. And I have a video. I'm not even a massive channel. I have a video from a couple.
You have 6-digit subs on YouTube. Enough said.
Videos from 2 years ago that have made like over $4,000. Like, YouTube videos make a lot of ad revenue.
YouTube has a very robust ad business, and YouTube as a platform is designed for the long haul, not in the moment like something like Twitch with the emphasis on live stuff.
And if I had put someone else's song in there, they would have made $4,000 off.
That's because of the shortcomings of the Content ID system. It's not proportional yet. I predict it becomes proportional when streaming becomes more of a thing on YouTube, and more YouTubers are firing off about losing 8 hours of ad revenue because of a stereo driving by with 10 seconds of copyrighted music that got flagged by Content ID and the revenue redirected. We'll keep an eye out and see if that happens.
of claiming that video if I put someone else's song in there. That is a huge incentive. That's the reason Content ID works.
One big payoff is not the same as a bunch of itty-bitty payoffs that add up. Automated, by the way. So instead of issuing DMCAs or programming or spending the money to program a system to auto DMCA whenever an Ariana Grande song plays or something, you can have the system do it for you and refunnel all that money. Anyone who disputes, the money just goes into escrow, but the people that don't, pay off. Little things that add up for everybody using your stuff in their videos. And music, by the way, works really well for this. So you can make plenty of money off of that because little things add up. It's not just those $4,000 flashes in the pans that make the difference here. It's little things adding up, which is bizarre because Harris talks about how Twitch has this exact problem that the money's not there and it's not really worth it.
Is because they can make money off of videos that aren't theirs for using the song. I still think that system's a little broken. I don't think they should take 100% of the revenue.
Okay, he agrees with me on that one. It should be proportionate. If you use a 3-minute song, you lose 3 minutes of ad revenue.
I think it's a problem, but that is why it works, right? You can't do that on Twitch.
And you're short-sighted here. You're only looking at the big numbers, not little numbers adding up.
How much, like, I want to know, I would like to see the numbers. This is another problem, by the jumping back to number one, another thing for the experience, the creator experience that they need to improve, they need a better dashboard. I would like to see how much an ad goes for. I'd like to see more revenue numbers than this is how much money you made this stream.
YouTube has that, but one thing that's extremely important, CPM data is internal business information. If you leak that information on stream, you are at risk of being booted out of the AdSense program. You're at the risk of being departnered. So yeah, you can see it, but do you want to? Because it's one of those things that you can't say anything about because it's internal business information.
Right? They need to make a better dashboard. And they've been talking about it for years, by the way. They've said they're going to make a separate mobile dashboard app since like 2017. It was in there. It was on twitch.tv. I would like to see how much a VOD makes. I bet you
VOD.
Nobody under Ninja. I don't think anybody's made $100 on a VOD.
If they haven't made $100 on a VOD, using that term once again, if they haven't made $100 on a VOD, that's because of the design of the platform. People don't want to watch stuff after the fact on Twitch, except in exceptions. Twitch would have to fundamentally change the platform and then condition the user base to use Twitch like YouTube. And who's going to do that anytime soon? It would take work and it would take time. So that's why the VODs don't make money. Nobody wants to watch them, so even if ads could be served, it wouldn't matter.
On ads on a VOD. I bet you there's never been anyone to make over $100 off of a VOD. Even Ninja, even Shroud, these people with tens of thousands of viewers. I bet you nobody's made over $100 off of ads on a VOD.
Of course they won't. Nobody has any reason to watch them, so the ads aren't being served to anybody. Change the way the site works, that changes too. Simple.
And so you take the contrast of why it works on YouTube, where you have a video with one song in the background. That person could theoretically make thousands of dollars.
Where you have a platform that is made and people know to use it to watch stuff after the fact, sometimes multiple times, as opposed to the sole emphasis being on what's live right now. That's the key difference. YouTube has that. Facebook has that. Twitch does not. In a way, Twitch is turning itself into the live stream answer to MySpace in terms of being a dated platform with this almost exclusive emphasis on stuff being live. And people are eating it up because of the strong marketing. When that changes, we'll see some scrambling going on.
Off of the ads on that video versus on Twitch, where there's like an 8-hour stream with music playing in the background of the whole thing. There's going to be over 100, like let's say each song is 3 minutes long. That's what, 20 tracks an hour. So if it's a 5-hour stream, that's 100 different songs that are all going to try to claim a portion of the maybe 100. Let's give best case scenario, $100. Everybody gets $1 off the best case scenario.
Well, that's the same thing with Content ID as well. If you look at a song that's claimed on a YouTube video, you might see like 20 different music rights societies claiming a video. That's going to get split up. The value comes from every single claim that isn't contested adding up over time. And the cottage industry of businesses that make money off of trying to false flag videos will be that way. You'll find they're the most cordial people in the world when you call them out and say, hey, can you release this claim? Because they know that releasing the one claim that you contest leaves the other 50 bazillion claims that are ignored up and earning money for their organization, which they get a cut of. So, little bit not quite there with the thoughts on this one.
Content ID won't work.
Content ID absolutely will work, and it'll be the best thing that ever happened to Twitch. Absolutely the best thing that ever happened to Twitch. It would fix the fundamental weakness of the platform that is now causing the platform to no longer be the best place for content. Even live stuff. If you can get a warning to stop doing auto-detected DMCA stuff on YouTube or Facebook, that type of a system should exist on Twitch, the premier streaming site, allegedly. In a sense, the experience of streaming on Twitch is kind of stuck in time, stuck in 2017, with these competitors coming up with one-up features like this. That's where Twitch needs to catch up. But the big one is DMCA.
Content ID can't work on Twitch because of the way music is used on Twitch.
Content ID can't work on Twitch because Twitch doesn't have a system for it. If they do, they have the potential to make it better for everyone involved. If I play 20 songs in a stream over and over again, it would work the best if the record labels could claim when their song was being played, not necessarily carving up the ad revenue for everything. Or maybe have it to where more ads will play because there's more claims and the system needs to make money. So, if you use copyrighted music and it gets flagged all over the place, you also get ads all over the place, which causes people to bounce all over the place. So don't do it.
So that kind of stuff is never going to work. What Twitch needs to do is what we talked about in another video. They need to strike deals. They need to fix the actual DMCA litigation, right?
Oh, you mean like Facebook with that big music license they made the news about?
DMCA was written in what, 1998?
Yep, 1998, the era of dial-up, which is why so many people, myself included, view it as outdated. There are some politicians that are starting to figure this out, but not many.
Live streaming wasn't a thing in 1998. YouTube wasn't even a thing in 1998.
Well, there technically was Real Player. Does that count? Like 12 kilobits per second or whatever it is. Have you ever seen a Real Player stream? Those of you that have seen really old stuff? Yeah, there used to be dial-up friendly streams. They looked horrible. They had like a resolution of like 3232 or 160 or something. Really terrible. But yeah, there was streaming in the day and age of DMCA, but it was nothing like cord cutter land that we have today.
You can get a broadcaster license if you're a radio broadcaster. Why can't you get a broadcast license if you're a live streamer?
Because there's other licenses like sync and mechanical licenses. The minute you host content after the fact, that requires more licenses than just the broadcast license. So
there needs to be a license for live streamers. Twitch needs to be at the forefront of fixing DMCA and creating a broadcaster license. I should be able to pay Spotify a higher rate.
Spotify? What about the RIAA? Why don't they just sell something? Well, here's what I think would happen. In order for streamers to afford something like that, it would have to be priced really low. So at some point we see radio stations trying to say, oh, no, we're not a radio station, we're streaming. See, we've got a stream on livestream.com or whatever. Or Ustream or whatever. Is Ustream even still a thing? There's a radio station that broadcasts on Twitch. I don't know why they haven't gotten banned yet, but if it was way cheaper to get licenses to stream, that's when you start seeing radio stations trying to pass themselves off as live streamers or something to keep their costs down. I'm sure this is the sort of thing that the RIAA has gone over with a fine-tooth comb. There's probably some kind of reason why a more consumer-friendly streamer license doesn't exist yet. And plus, consider the money that's involved. So I saw earlier, pop the calculator open. It's not in the right spot, so let's put it in the middle. Ah, not that. I'm glad the calculator is part of this, but let's just put this here. There we go. So I think S-Fan had 10,000 subs earlier. He had a sub count that said 10,000. Somebody said that. 10,000 times 2.5, $25,000 a month times 12 is somebody grossing $300,000 a year if they have months with 10,000. If they're every month they have at least 10,000 subs. That's somebody making 6 digits. How cheap would you like that license to get? We'd end up with a situation where, in order to not get ripped off by all the big streamers, small streamers couldn't afford that license. So that's probably why there isn't a streamer license. There's probably lots of business negotiations that have landed us in this position where this sort of thing doesn't exist because nobody can make it work. They'd have to pull something like Vimeo and tie it to traffic and pay more per impression or whatever it is, or play or something. But then how do you not end up in with the same problems as Vimeo, where people make stuff on Vimeo, it goes viral, and they can't afford the bandwidth costs because they're not making tons of money. So if something goes viral, they either pay a huge bill or the video gets taken down because they can't afford the bandwidth. This is the kind of problem that YouTube has solved for over 15 years by having a free service. I don't think it would translate well into a streamer license for playing music.
You know, $20, $25 a month. I should be able to pay Spotify for a broadcast license.
$20 to $25 a month. Let's fire this back up again. $20 to $25 a month. 25 a month times 12. You're spending $300 a year as that big streamer we talked about earlier with 10,000 subs, when you're grossing $300,000 pre-tax. Somebody in a suit somewhere would be going nuts if that price point existed. I don't think there's any way to make it work. This is one of the reasons why I say you need to differentiate between platform problems and people problems. People are not going to solve this platform problem of licensing music. And so that's why you have platforms like Facebook taking the initiative instead of dumping on the creators. Or doing what Twitch does and trying to make it look like that they're doing creators a favor by, yeah, we're going to give you more varied ways to delete all your stuff so you don't get DMCA'd. Where were we?
And then attach my Twitch account to it. So that way Spotify knows how many people are watching and are actually hearing this song. And I pay $20 to $25 a month, and they say, okay, they come up with a good, what's it called? They come up with a good fraction, right? A good ratio. Maybe if music is just in the background of the stream, which it should be, that needs to be one of the rules, right? Music has to be just in the background. It can't be a 24-hour radio station unless there's another tier for that of like $100 a month.
Well, if you're $100 calculator again, let's suppose that you did that. You're $100 a month times 12. $1,200 when you make 300,000 as that 10,000 sub Andy. Yeah.
You have this broadcaster license, you attach it to your Twitch. Spotify knows that maybe I have 100 viewers, right? Every 100 viewers counts as a single play. Audience members listening to a stream counts as a single stream. So if I'm
That's the Vimeo problem all over again. Go viral and you get a huge bill, or you get taken down.
streaming for 1,000 people, I get one stream off myself and another 10 streams off viewers. And instead of that counting as one stream, which is the problem, when I stream a song right now, it only counts as a single stream, and record labels hate that. If I were to stream right now, I'd get 14 extra streams every time I play a song, and so it would count as 15 because you'd add myself as one listener also. If every time I played a song, it counted as 15 plays instead of one play, I think that's what would, I think that would make record labels happy. I think that's what they want more than anything. I'd love
plays instead of money when you have licenses you already sell to give people permission to use commercial music. I don't see that working out from a business perspective. Stick to strumming with your guitar, buddy.
To play my music and have every stream get counted as 15 streams. That would be sick.
Yeah, for your ego, but what about your wallet?
That'd be amazing. I couldn't even imagine getting 15 times the amount of revenue as I'm getting right now. Just
okay, now he brings up the money. About time.
By playing my own music. That'd be awesome. Last thing Twitch needs to do. Twitch needs to get rid of Emmett Shear. If Twitch is going to survive, Twitch needs to get rid of Emmett Shear. And
so I agree with him on this one, but for maybe reasons he might not be thinking of. Emmett Shear reminds me a lot of Susan Wojcicki on the YouTube side of things. Susan Wojcicki is a big-time Google OG. I think like some of the ideas for Google started in her garage or something. And Emmett Shear is one of the co-founders of Justin TV and eventually Twitch. What we have with both people is somebody who's put in a lot of years to the company. But just because you grind away years working for the same company doesn't mean you're the best person to lead it. Now, at a lower level, when people get laid off or fired from jobs despite years and years with a company, this logic is in play, but not with executives. So, one of the rules and part of the burden of leadership is that you own what you oversee. On YouTube, since Susan Wojcicki took over, we've had Adpocalypse 1, Adpocalypse 2. We've had all these other things going on that have gotten people stressed, all these other things that have upset creators. And at the same time, every time Susan tweets anything, it's always a non sequitur, like she doesn't give a darn. It makes her look like she's apathetic about the state of the very platform that she oversees. And when she's interviewed, sometimes the answers are also completely irrelevant to the questions, or she has irrelevant questions in the first place. Nobody in this world cares that Susan Wojcicki prefers coffee over tea. They want to know, if so-and-so is getting demonetized, what is YouTube doing to make the system more fair so so-and-so doesn't get demonetized? It's like any publicity thing is a joke. And then you have Emmett Shear, right? CEO, grew a huge beard this year due to quarantine. He shows up on this GlitchCon thing, and GlitchCon was in the same position as BlizzCon 2019 with the Blitzchung controversy over censorship, and did China have too much control over Blizzard? So you go into what's supposed to be a fun annual convention with some dark shadow of some recent bad thing hanging over your head. How do you handle that? In the case of Emmett Shear, he introduced us to some dog he has or whatnot and put on a show not unlike a bad Nickelodeon show from the 1990s. And it was tacky and it was corny, and maybe you could laugh at some of it. But during the keynote discussion, if you want to call it that, he talked about waiting until mid-December for a town hall to talk about DMCA. I got news for you. Streamer after streamer after streamer out there is nervous about whether their channel even has a future because of these DMCA problems. Streamer after streamer after streamer is worried about whether they have a future on Twitch. And you do that for your keynote. You do that for the main way in which you interact with your user base in the span of a year. I fully agree with Harris. Emmett Shear needs to resign or be forced out if he's this out of touch with his own platform, because if he doesn't, he's the leadership that steers the ship into the iceberg. Same with Susan Wojcicki and YouTube. I think she should resign as well. Let some fresh talent with fresh ideas take over the platform instead of, I've been with Google for 30 years. Yeah, so? The old guard is the old guard for a reason, and one of the things the old guard often comes up short on is innovation, or even just not being clueless about how the industry has evolved on their watch.
Potentially even the people underneath him. I don't know how far down the ladder the problem goes. Every time Emmett Shear talks, it shows he has no clue. Do you remember?
Like I just said. But he's been with the company for so long. But grinding away doesn't help you if you're a rank and file employee. But you get a pass when you're an executive.
Last year at TwitchCon, when he talked about the unfair bans, and he was like, oh, it's about context. And everyone's like, what are you even talking about? Nothing.
Whoops. There we go. Well, the context thing would actually be a way that Twitch could be better than YouTube. YouTube has an ongoing problem with too many automated systems, not enough of a human face on what it is that they do. If Twitch did that better, then that's a competitive advantage for them. The number one competitive disadvantage, DMCA.
he said made any sense. And then this year at GlitchCon, which makes me sad, by the way, because GlitchCon deserves a credit. You know, as underwhelming as that is compared to TwitchCon, that was the best virtual convention I've ever seen. They took leaps and bounds to make that as good of an experience as they possibly could.
I'm gonna ruin my furniture if I don't felt bottom this darn thing. It's time. Maybe I should just do this after the show.
Sending out trailers to people, sending out whole sets to streamers to make the experience fun again.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. How come, were there any streamers that actually used those trailers in their GlitchCon streams? I thought for certain there was going to be something where everybody chimed in and got like 2 minutes to talk about stuff or whatever, and they'd like go from like trailer to trailer and stuff like that. I thought there'd be something related to that instead of just they have a pretty place to watch the convention in and maybe do a few streams from. Did any of them actually do that? I know a lot of folks, a lot of big streamers receive trailers, but what exactly did they do with them? Just watch the show in them? That could have been something more, I think.
That was incredible. And you know, that's a complete, I feel bad that people like hated on every single GlitchCon post because of DMCA stuff.
But that's the way it works. When there's a narrative, you either step up and take charge of the narrative or it takes charge of you. The narrative going into GlitchCon was DMCA was the shadow hanging over the entire platform. Just like going into BlizzCon after Blitzchung, the narrative was the shadow of the censorship hanging over Blizzard. You cannot try to ignore these things. It will not work. People aren't idiots. They're not going to be fooled. Not to say the internet runs off a mob rule either, but part of what you do as a company is manage your brand, and part of managing your brand is managing your image. And I'm not talking about streamers or people here. I'm talking about Twitch as a platform, products and services. We can talk personas for that other stuff.
You know, it's a completely different team. The team that worked on GlitchCon is a completely different team than the ones dropping the ball about DMCA.
Doesn't matter. This is why it's such a huge problem in corporate America if you speak for the company when you're not authorized to do so. Because something like this can snowball. The press picks it up. People start believing it even though it's not true because they don't check their sources. They don't have a proper amount of healthy cynicism and skepticism of what everybody tells them. They're suckers, but they're still people. And this is how people view your company. This is why companies focus on stuff like this. Doesn't matter what people did to make GlitchCon look interesting. Doesn't matter when compared to the looming problem of DMCA and the effect it has had on what streamers do and how interesting their streams are since then.
And they got their hard work destroyed because of how poorly their DMCA team handled it, right?
Because there's not enough effort. There's not even a sign of any scrambling to build anything better, just the promise that it's going to exist. But the only thing that anybody can really say, yeah, that's happening, is Twitch has made it easier to delete your stuff. When we already see the elephant in the room of Content ID over on YouTube or the giant music license on Facebook. So no, there needs to be more. And quite frankly, it was a terrible coincidence that this happened so close to the convention. But that is going to have consequences because when people are upset, they're upset. How do you move forward despite all of that? Sometimes these things happen.
It makes me sad. Like as difficult as it was to watch that, like they put so much effort into that.
And the guy talking about numbers and metrics and the businessy side of stuff couldn't even keep his microphone working. And nobody could say, hey, you're cutting out. So he couldn't understand half the stuff he said. I don't believe that.
And the only thing people think about when they think of GlitchCon, the main thing people think about when they think of GlitchCon is Emmett Shear sitting there saying, 2020 has been an amazing year.
It's true. With the lockdowns, Twitch has enjoyed a massive explosion in in hours watched. Q2 2020, huge for Twitch. Massive. So they have benefited. It's the creators that haven't benefited, though, because hours streamed exploded just about as much. So Twitch didn't get anywhere in terms of their mathematics, in terms of too many people wanting to be streamers, not enough people wanting to watch streamers. But they still grew. It just wasn't the kind of growth that helps content creators. And it's certainly not the kind of growth that's going to make up for the lack of a DMCA system other than strikes once more people smarten up to this deficiency with the platform.
For Twitch. That's what he says in front of, what, 100,000 people? If Twitch is going to survive, if they're going to have any confidence in their creators again, they need to get rid of Emmett Shear.
Well, first they have to have confidence in their creators. It shouldn't take Emmett Shear for Twitch to respect creators and not throw them under the bus. No man is an island.
Potentially his executive team right underneath it. Nobody's making good decisions. Nobody knows how to run a company. They are all destroying Twitch. Right now, Twitch is losing to YouTube.
Yes, they are. It's going to get worse as YouTube ramps things up, especially if YouTube takes some of these features that have been works in progress and releases them, like the raids feature they're working on, or the recently discussed on Creator Insider equivalent of Twitch Prime. I imagine that would be a stepping stone to something like a gifted sub in the form of a gifted channel membership. Think about it for a second, though. What all three of these platforms have out of the box, Twitch is the runt of the litter. They all have to evolve in different directions to stay competitive with each other. And I see Facebook and YouTube moving along their path more than Twitch moving along theirs. Facebook and YouTube are developing streaming and the robustness of streaming with a very passionate team trying to get things done. Even Facebook Gaming. Despite Facebook's inherent systemic issues with the real names thing and whatnot. Twitch shot themselves in the foot with DMCA. Because what they need is more after-the-fact content and a platform that is friendlier to after-the-fact content, instead of the sole focus being streaming all the time. How many more streamers need to essentially belch all their content over to YouTube in order for it to have a chance in an algorithm environment where people are watching after the fact? And it didn't help things. The DMCA thing certainly didn't help things. Now that everybody's afraid of having anything after the fact on Twitch.
Hard, like really bad. YouTube has everything on Twitch. The only thing that YouTube doesn't have that
this will be good. Let me see here.
Twitch has is the Twitch community.
That is a farce. There's that word community again. If YouTube offered more emotes and more of this other stuff, you really think a lot of these people putting up with Twitch, especially as Twitch gets more boring, because streamers are worried about DMCA, and so it's hurting the entertainment value of what they do? So you go over to YouTube. You really think those people wouldn't go to YouTube? There's a group of people that'll never give YouTube a chance, and there's a group of people that'll never give Twitch a chance. Just demographics. But if you could get a similar experience with joking around in the chat on YouTube that you can get on Twitch, or better TTV and Frankerface added functionality for YouTube streams, do you really think people would stick around on Twitch for reasons other than they like somebody who just won't leave? Who do you want to attract? Who do you want to repulse? Wouldn't take much for YouTube to start attracting the very kinds of people that are the reason Harris says, oh yeah, the community. Other streamers have said that too. But I think that's a very shallow reason. What really needs to change is DMCA and the lack of a system, so it has to be strikes only, so everybody has to freak out about potentially losing their channels. And so you got all these VOD channels popping up on YouTube now, barfing long-form 8-hour videos over because I gotta put my VODs on YouTube, I might get a strike! Come to think of it, this attitude that I absolutely hate of Twitch streamers using YouTube as a means to an end, like grow on YouTube and bring the audience to Twitch, and not properly respecting the platform in its own right. That is all because of Twitch's deficiencies as a platform, whether it's discoverability technology, DMCA, or otherwise. So all these people that want to essentially use YouTube as a stepping stone instead of taking it seriously as a streaming and video platform, it's all because of the deficiencies of the platform they want to be big on. Well, why not just eliminate the middleman? By eliminating essentially, oh, I want to be a Twitch streamer. Be a YouTube streamer. It's not that hard. And you know that a passionate team is working on improving the experience. Oh, here's something in Harris's chat. Check this out. Emmett Shear is basically Zuckerberg now, totally out of touch with what he currently manages. Yeah, now that I think of it, some of the things people have been saying about Mark Zuckerberg are along those lines as well. And it's these people, they're OGs with the companies, but it doesn't mean that they're in a position to lead them in 2020 when the industry has changed. The platform is different, but he thinks we're the ones out of touch. Anyways.
Which is amazing. It's the only reason big streamers are still here, because
you mean besides those monopoly contracts, those exclusivity deals that haven't expired yet. I'll bet you some of these fraidy cat Twitch streamers that are dumping literally everything except their live broadcast over to YouTube because they're afraid of DMCA would bolt in a second if their audience already has them on, subscribed on YouTube. And they can just go over, start streaming there, and basically pull a Dr. Disrespect. Don't forget the technical and business stuff behind the scenes, Mr. Heller.
as every other thing is better on YouTube. The Twitch community is incredible.
Well, it could be better on YouTube as well. I mean, I've watched Dr. Disrespect. I've watched Valky Ray. The TV stations turn the chat off, so there isn't anybody really doing anything there. But I've watched a lot of stuff on YouTube streaming, and it's a pretty good experience. So all they have to do is catch up with a few cosmetics like custom emotes, and Better TTV and Frankerface should add a way to use third-party emotes without YouTube and Google thinking that someone's spamming if they're typing Monka W or Pepe Laugh tea time too many times. It's all competition, though. Something that's very much worth keeping an eye on to maintain a proper perspective. Something else I talk about on this show. Maybe a little too much, but it's pretty valid.
Won't be here forever if Twitch keeps doing what they're doing. And I think the Twitch community is incredible. That won't be here forever if Twitch keeps doing what they're doing. And I think that that community could save Twitch if they come out and fix these problems. I really do. I think if they were to fix these three things.
So in other words, your user base doesn't leave your platform because you fix your platform. That's inertia. Somebody else in Harris's chat says UI is holding YouTube back as well, in my opinion. That's been an issue for a long time. But there are attempts to fix that in the works. The question is whether they're going to ever be anything more than a work in progress. Someone else is saying, so if you're a new streamer, start on YouTube. Yes. Twitch, because of the emphasis on concurrence, is fundamentally unfriendly to new streamers. It is not worth it to stream if it doesn't help you get affiliate or partner, whatever you want to get to. I'm glad some people have showed up and helped this thing stay at 3, by the way, because otherwise I really would have been just shooting myself in the foot. So here I am, get into a new hobby, like streaming, want to do more of it, but because of the whole thing with Twitch affiliate and whatnot, and the whole thing with concurrence, it's not worth it for me to stream. The very thing I've just gotten into. And Twitch is so biased towards who's already big on here that I don't see that changing anytime soon. Yeah, I've seen this concurrent number go up and down while I've been streaming, been keeping an eye on it, but it goes up and down less on Twitch than it does on YouTube. So even as a bump on a log streaming on YouTube, taking a complete break from making videos, now we see a situation. And it's not even, I'm looking at the users in chat right now. It doesn't even say the same names as before. So it is people coming and going. But the algorithms actually do more for me in Team Redland than they do here. So it's just that across the board, 2020 is a terrible year for content creation because everybody's getting into it because they have nothing better to do because of the lockdowns. And I think there's going to be permanent damage to the ability to grow because more people it's going to be less of a special thing to do something like YouTube videos or stream because people have been on enough Zoom calls, remote learning, other stuff like that, meetings online and stuff like this, that it's no longer something they seek out as much. I'm actually curious if there might be people where if it looks like a Zoom meeting, it looks like work, so they don't watch. So 2020 is going to have a ripple effect on online media for every year afterwards. So my situation with YouTube might be harder to resolve because of what's happened this year, but that's a completely different discussion.
I think they would regain the trust of their community, and I think they could survive. I think they could become the top gaming platform again. I really do. At least the top gaming streaming platform. I hope they do it. I really do. I would love to see Twitch thrive in 2021. It's not going to happen if Emmett Shear stays there, though.
Bada bing. There's the post-roll ad, which Harris actually placed because it's off by default on YouTube. So he's trying to monetize the heck out of everything. Not a bad idea, though, because YouTube has a massive emphasis on what makes them money in terms of what the algorithms push around. I've been watching it in my own numbers for years. So what we have here, this is just one video I wanted to respond to, but I'm pretty hoarse from all of that, so we can just leave it at this. This was Harris Heller's discussion about what he thinks Twitch needs to survive in 2021. YouTube.com, look for the Alpha Gaming channel, and I actually have this video direct linked on my Twitter at twitter.com/MultimediaJay. So this is the thing, though. You always want to keep a proper perspective on things. Sometimes the best way to do that is to, number one, look at other platforms, compare the platforms against each other. What do they do well? What don't they do well? So you don't get fishbowled by any one of them. And also, when it comes to commentary, listen, even if you don't agree with somebody. There's a lot of things I disagree with Harris Heller on. There's a lot of things I disagree with Devin Nash on. There's a lot of reasons I'll disagree with anybody on. But what matters here is that you get other people's perspectives, because when you shut down the dialogue, you become insular, you're insulated, so to speak. You don't really know what's going on. And you end up in a situation where you're out of touch. So, yeah, Twitch has a lot to work on. And in the meantime, I will primarily be streaming on YouTube with only special stuff that I know will help me get to affiliate on here, because I've spent all this time streaming. Is this low quality streaming? No. I see people who can't get viewers that can't even keep a decent picture on the screen. They're constantly cutting out, lagging out, pixelating out. So I've invested in upgrades like a new camera, and I've worked on my ability to speak impromptu and say more than 3 words without needing to drink something. None of that matters, though, if the technology, which is the middleman between the creator and a potential audience, doesn't give them an audience. And there are so many design problems with Twitch that I am not surprised that this concurrent counter barely moves on Twitch versus on YouTube. So this is all competitive disadvantage type stuff that Twitch needs to fix. The numbers, the mathematics, the technology, the bad leadership decisions, everything. But it's up to them to fix it. Social media is youtube.com/MultimediaJay, twitter.com/MultimediaJay, twitch.tv/MultimediaJay, and multimediajay.wordpress.com. As well as MultimediaJay TV on Instagram. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.